beautiful souls. I am awakened soul. I'm back. I was gone for 2 weeks on vacation, had a lovely vacation. But let's go ahead and start off looking at BTC, like always, setting it up on a fresh chart with no expectations, with no emotions, right? I like to start my TA in the monthly for my next setup, for my next trade. So just really quick before I begin, I want to remind you that I do use the index chart and I am in a log scale. Okay, I think for me it's been such a game changer, so I'm going to share that information with you. So the first thing I'm going to do, really brief, I'm going to turn on my magnet and do a one touch, two touch like I've always done. This monthly trend line is showing me and telling me a lot. It's telling me price action was above this major support. We broke down, we retested, so we continue to the downside. Another thing I use is my 1226 EMAs. And just really brief, you can see technically the 1226 EMAs are bearish because the 26 is under the 12. Okay, on the monthly. So just with one trend line, right, with some EMAs, you could get a story. So let me just give you a really fast monthly target. One touch, two touch, like always. You already know. There you go. So when I'm day trading, I like to focus on my range, right? It's important for you as a technical analyst to find your range. And sometimes it's hard to determine where your pivot highs and lows are or where to draw a trend line. So I like to use the pivot highs and lows just to help me out. See if, like right here, right? So I want to draw a bearish trend line now. No, this is my bearish, like a bullish right here. So one touch, two touches, right? And it just helps me to place my trend line. So if we continue to the upside, this would be my target right here at 39. Right, and you have to be open-minded as a trader. Like I said, no emotions, no expectations. When I do my TA, I always give a bullish and bearish target, even though, you know, my intuition tells me a certain direction. Let me tell you something about the charts. They don't care what we think or how we feel. So I gave you, this is my bullish target for the monthly. This is my bearish target. And I drew my trend lines. I'm also gonna draw my range based on the previous monthly candle. Okay, so I have my range there. So now let's continue to my weekly. On my weekly trend line, I'm gonna take this pivot highs and lows off right now. So on my weekly trend line, we're gonna start looking at market structure. What is market structure? It's a 4x master pattern that is composed of a contraction phase, trend down, contraction phase. So right here you can see a contraction phase, a sideways movement, and this is my second contraction phase. So this contraction phase right here, the bottom one, is one contraction phase, right? So within this contraction phase, I want to see what pattern is it making, or what do we see? Because every contraction phase is going to give you a pattern. So just based on this contraction phase really quick, on the weekly, right, what do we see? What can I tell? I think I've drawn this before, right? I mean, it's, for me, it's a little obvious right here. The U, right? But it's important for you to understand that this is it and it broke out of it. So this could be like a cup and a handle, sure, right? And my weekly trend lines are orange. So I try to color coordinate everything. So this is what I'm seeing in the weekly. I'm not seeing much other than this right now. So I'm going to leave it as is. So what am I going to do? I'm going to use my higher high, lower low indicator. Right, and it's just going to again help me, guide me, and where to set in my trend lines for the weekly. So that's going to be my major support. Right, 1 touch, 2 touch, we have 3 touches there. And my resistance, I guess we could come here. Turn on the magnet, 1 touch, 2 touches. Right, so even it looks like a rising wedge here, but we're going to leave it as it is. And what else we're going to do, we're going to get the previous range of the previous candle and get a range there. I hope I'm not losing you. That's why I color coordinate everything, because I end up having a techno party in the end. So here we go. You know, and I trade with the flow, so it's important for me to understand the flow. So like we saw in the monthly, we were in a bearish trend based on the 1226 EMAs. Now in the weekly, we're in a bullish uptrend, right? Because 1226, because price action is above the 1226 EMAs. Let's look at our RSI, and I do have a special RSI. Here you go. Copy it if you don't have it. The upper band is 63.5, the lower band is 32. And if you're not following me on Twitter, go ahead and give me a follow. I am awakened so _369. And I was just sharing this morning this beautiful play of gold. I shared with my Discord last night. I told them this looks hella bullish. I am from the Bay, so hella is the common word here. But look at this. I'm still waiting for target to hit. I am in beautiful profits. But yeah, go ahead and give me a follow. I am the queen of charts. Oh, wrong chart. That's BTC. Okay, so on my weekly, right, you can see clear divergence here as price action is going to the upside. Price action coming to the downside. Okay, so that's beautiful divergence, giving me that bearish sense. So now that we have our trend lines, our range, I see some bearish divergence. We saw a cup. Let's move on to the daily. So in the daily, same process. We're going to concentrate on price action, market structure, right? Oh, another thing I guess I didn't do is the POC. I like to pull the POC. It just gives me a good sense where price action could gravitate towards. Let me do it on my weekly. So it's a free tool here if you don't have it. And I will give you my setups. Where is it? This, it's called the fixed range volume profile, right? So you just pull it from your contraction phase. Remember, this is our full weekly contraction phase. So this will be our weekly POC. And you could go ahead and just mark it here so you don't forget. Just label it. This would be weekly POC. Okay, let's go back to the daily. So on the daily, remember what I said, a contraction phase is a sideways movement. And like I've shown before, this itself is a sideways movement, right? It's within the same range. So this contraction phase is going to give us a nice POC. This will be our daily POC. And again, the POC is just going to tell us where the highest volume of the area, the trading area is. And it's going to be used as a like I say gravitation, but yeah, like price action will gravitate to the POC. So let me go ahead and label this really quick. So this is going to be my daily POC. Okay, so let's look at our contraction phase on the daily. What do you see? Right, no expectations, no emotions. Right here, we obviously have a beautiful divergence already. This looks like a big M. Oops. I mean, just looking at it, right? Like a double top. Because this is our contraction phase. So we're wondering, what does this look like? So this could be, in my daily is yellow. This could be a beautiful M pattern. Okay, with the double top. That's what I'm seeing right now. And I go based on what my vision tells me. Literally, that's all. So once I have my vision, okay, I think it's a M. I have divergence. I have my POC. Look at the trend, right? 1226 EMAs. Price action above, bullish. Price action under, bearish. So off the top, we could visually see that BTC is in a daily bearish trend, okay? So bearish trend, let's get our range, right? Our range, again, is going to be based on the previous candle. This is going to be my high. This is going to be my low. And let's set some trend lines. Where could I set my trend lines on the daily? So sometimes, like I said, I like to use this higher high, lower low. And I just play around with the numbers. Sometimes I use 30, sometimes I use 3. I like to stay within the universe numbers. So I use 3, 6, and 9, and then 30. It depends what I'm looking for, right? So right now, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for beautiful highs and lows to give me a pattern. I want to see what kind of pattern is this contraction phase for me. So this is going to be my support for the daily. You know, I can't connect this, not yet, because this day candle has not closed, and I don't like to play with live candles. So I'm not going to put a resistance trend line, not yet, maybe in my 4 hours. Okay, so we continue, right? So we know we're in a bearish trend. Let's go to my 4 hours. My 4 hours is really critical as I play with 4-hour trend line breaks, and I believe that they're one of the most powerful ones as a day trader. So I don't know if you got a glimpse of the previous chart, but this right here was a contraction phase, right? We broke down, right? So this right here, contraction phase, broke down, contraction phase, broke down. So this is a new contraction phase. Level to level, step by step, just like a stairway to heaven or to hell in this case, because it's coming down, right? So based on this, it's really important for you to understand, like when you see a chart like this, it's finding your contraction phase. So this is my contraction phase, and this is what I'm going to be paying attention to, right? This is an educational YouTube, so it does take me longer, but I want you to learn. I want you to understand what my brain sees, how I like determine my beautiful plays. And this is why I'm good, because I take the time to do my analysis in every chart that I trade. I do a thorough technical analysis from monthly all the way to, I'll go down to the 7-minute and set my next trade, right? Because like I always say, one good trade a day makes your day. So right here on my 4 hours, right, I'm just connecting some trend lines because again, this is my contraction phase. I know this was gone. We came back, we red tested. We're here. Sorry, let me take the magnet off. It's like a, what is this? Could be a channel coming down, or it could be ascending megaphone. You see this? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? Like this, right? So this is the area we're playing right now. And I could definitely put a trend line from this high to this one, but there's no need. And the reason is because, again, this is its own contraction phase, and we're in a new contraction phase. So you have to remember that. So this is gone. This play right here, this price action, there's no, it's irrelevant to what we're doing right now with the 4 hour. So I'm going to use this megaphone, right? It's what I see. It's what the charts are telling me. And just like you saw before here, I had this channel coming down, and sure, it could be a channel, but I'm going to go with the megaphone. Same process. So level to level, right? Like steps. It was holding support, breakdown. Let me change colors because we're in our 4 hours. Okay. So what do I see? I see a bear flag. That's what I see, right? What is your contraction phase telling you? I see a bear flag, breakdown, bear flag, breakdown, bear flag. So if we get a measure move from a bear flag from this pull, I mean, we're going to bounce off the POC right here. Right, it could be a little bit smaller, but it could be it. 1, 2, 3. Right, this right here, you see our weekly trend line, you see your POC. This right here, approximately, oops, wrong one. I'm going to tell you right now. 28K, okay? If we break 28K, there's no return till next year. Just know that. 28K right now is my line in the sand. I'm gonna put it red just in case. So this right here looks like a bear flag. So let's keep moving in, right? Because we're looking for a trade for today, not for tomorrow, not for yesterday. Nobody cares what happened yesterday. Nobody cares what's happening tomorrow. A trader should only be looking at its range today and seeing what's happening right now in the now. So this is like I said, a nice bear flag. Let's see, 15. So I use the 1 hour for my entries in as a day trader. When I say that, I mean I look at it as for my highs and lows, because after a high there's going to be a low, right? So my 1 hours are really critical to me. So this is going to be my resistance, and this is my support. It would look like, I mean, just looking at it, right, it looks like it broke the 4 hour support right there. You can see because it's green. Let me see my trend lines. I mean, my RSI. Not telling me much, right? Same process. It's gonna make a big move. It's gonna squeeze. Oh, let me show you a great indicator too. I like to use the RSVVB, and this gives me that sense of a big move coming. You can see the pressure, you can see the volume on the 4 hours, right? Big movement coming in. You can see the tightness on the 2 hours, on the 1 hour. Okay, we were in the 1 hour. Okay, so let's do a setup. It's kind of hard because it's in a trend right now. So contraction phases happen in every time frame, right? So if we go on the 1 hour, you can see contraction phases. An example, this is a contraction phase, right? Sideways movement, trend down. This was a W. Then we went trend up. See, trend up. This was a contraction phase, trend down, contraction phase up. So this was trend. So see how you can see contraction phases even with the smaller time frame. So just right here in this contraction phase, let's go into the 15-minute. What do you see? I see an M right off the bat. Okay. So like I said, don't get caught up on the past. This is your M. So what's your M? Measure movement. This is your measure move. Okay, so we're talking about a nice target at 29,167. Another thing that I use is my trend lines. Okay, one touch, two touch. This will be my target off the bat for this downside movement, and then this one will be my next target at the 4-hour trend line support. And that's how I determine, that's how I do my TA. Would I enter right now? Let me see. I mean, it's coming down right now. You could definitely, no financial advice, right? But you could definitely jump in and set a stop loss. Always play with stop losses. Another thing that I like to use is my sessions indicator, right? It's going to tell me, see, London is still open, but we're under the London and the New York PLC. We are in a downtrend on the New York time frame, on the New York session. My 1226 EMAs. Let me see my RSI. I usually like to enter when the RSI is overbought, right, to short, and oversold to long. Right, in the 1 hour, there's movement, and the 15 minutes, we could have a little retrace. Okay, it's all price action. So I like to, let's go on my 7 minutes. It's always been really good for me. Turning on higher high, lower lows indicators. So we have a low, so the most common scenario is a retest of this neckline, and it's doing that right now, and then continue to the downside. That's what I'm seeing right now. I hope this helped. I hope you learned something. Like I said, give me a follow at Awaken Soul _369, and I do have a learning course if you're interested. It's only $33. It's a one-time fee, and it comes with my Discord, and I'm always there active, and like I showed you earlier, always giving setups before the moves actually happen, and just helping the community out. Thank you so much, and remember to do everything with love.